Hi everybody, welcome to a new tutorial from Sound for More. In this video I would like to cover what is my favorite performance synth. Coming out from 2020, I believe it is still relevant, and that is LayR. I also have a number of codes to give away to celebrate the starting of the new year, but also to celebrate LayR as a fantastic performance synth. So why is LayR my favorite performance synth? Well, it's because you can do lots with it. So let's run it inside AUM, as it can run as a standalone, but also as an AUV3 unit. So and as you can see, it has been upgraded also to have a multi-output as well, which is great. One of the reasons that in the past, I must admit, I need to be honest, I have abandoned LayR for a bit was because it didn't have mouse support. Or better, when you went inside the synth config, you would constantly have zooming in and out every time you tried to move the mouse, and that put me off a little bit. But I have to say, Living Memory software has released a new version, a new update, after I contacted them and I asked them to introduce that. So this is now back at the top to be my favorite performance synth. LayR is based on performances, as you would expect, and there are a number of performances which are absolutely fantastic. Each performance then has a number of instruments, as many as you like. Each instrument then can have a number of layers, up to 128 layers, and then each layer has its own synth with 2 oscillators, multiple LFOs, multiple filters, the ability to morph from one waveform to the other, etc, etc. And look at how well the implementation of mouse support has been done on LayR. Is context sensitive, so as you move it recognizes where the pointer is as well, which is really cool. It can go up to 256 voices depending on your iPad hardware. I have to say that is great. It has some drawback in terms of technology because it handles very well simultaneous voices up to 256. But of course, if you're using multiple instances of LayR at the moment, whether it is one voice or 200 voices, it will use the same amount of CPU, and that can be a drawback if you want to use multiple instances of LayR. But I would say that the purpose of using LayR is more for on stage for performances, and that's what I also want to show you. So, and I know some people also mentioned that it is complicated. It is a bit, but but it is, as with anything, when you learn, it becomes really easy. So I'm going to show you in this video how easy it is to create a performance, and I'm going to use the standard instruments as they come out from the factory, so that you can see how quick and easy it is to create a performance. And I'm just going to use LayR. Of course, you can use it as a standalone. I'm using in AUM because I can show you also better the keyboard, and I can control it a little bit better if I need to. So so we are inside AUM, just to run an instance of LayR. So the first thing I would like to do is decrease a little bit of volume, because I know it always comes out high. We have one single instrument strip. Now, if you click on this arrow, you can load load in instrument really, and let's start loading these drum components. This one, press and hold F1, and the reason for that because it is actually really cool. Now, one of the things that is really powerful inside LayR is also the ability to have an arpeggiator sequencer, which is absolutely fantastic. So let's click on latch, so we'll start to play. Let's click close. Now let's bring up the keyboard, the internal keyboard of LayR. Now let's click too much. Okay, let's disable this because we're in latch mode. Let's enable the scroll. Let's go down to where I can see like that, where I can see an F0, and let's select an F0, C3, E flat 3, G3, and B flat 3. Now, so as you can see, 5 notes. Let's concentrate on using only the first one for now. So let's hide the keyboard, and remember we have only 5 notes. Now let's go back to the sequencer here. Let's remove this repeat for loop. Let's check that note. Let's make it index 1, which means we'll play the first note of the chord which I played on the keyboard, and if you remember, that is an F0. And let's increase the length. Really nice. Let's make the speed twice as low. Let's decrease the volume further, like that. And let's take the opportunity now to change the tempo inside the AUM, and let's make it very slow because I want to do something more ambient, like so. And let's go back to inside LayR. Now let's make that instrument receiving only for MIDI channel number 1, like so. And now let's create another instrument strip, again receiving from channel number 1. And let's load another draw component, and this time we are going to load bubbly thing. Let's adjust the volume, and the next thing we are going to do is also add some reverb for more effect. So let's expand these. We have 3 layers on this one. As you can see, a lot of potential. Let's increase the second effect, number 2 here, which is the reverb, for all the 3 layers, like so. And let's do the same also for the second instrument, and we have only 1 layer on this one. And let's listen. Now let's configure the reverb. Let's go under effect. Let's check on reverb and make some changes, which I will explain in other videos. For now, just take them as they come, but just want to show you how easy it is to create an ambient performance. Quite different already. Now let's make it more interesting. Let's add something like a doom doom, like perhaps a kick drum, but very low and deep. So these will be driven separately, so a different MIDI channel. So let's load a drum component, and let's select this bass drum 808D. Okay. Now I raise a little bit of volume and go inside the sequencer, and I'm going to add some notes. So you can hear that drum. Now let's add some effect. Let's add some reverb as well. You can see the first one is for delay, is already applied. So let's go back to effects again, and let's choose delay. Let's change the dry wet aeration, add some reverb, touch more feedback, and let's listen. And remember, that is just using one note, the note F0. Now let's try to use the other 4 notes, that C minor chord with 7th. So let's add another instrument. Let's say that responds to channel MIDI number 3. And let's load something from the R component, the filter pack here, the 16th filter pack. Let's click OK. Now let's add some reverb, but also more delay, like so. Let's go back inside the sequencer, channel number 3 here, and let's add some notes. And now let's listen. Okay, at this point, for example, we could add another instrument as well, and you can see the power of LayR. It really handles really well multiple instruments and complexity really well. So let's, for example, choose something like cinematic pad, and let's choose, for example, this evolver. Why not? Let's try it. Let's decrease the volume because I'm sure it will be high. The same also for this other instrument. Let's see how many layers. Wow, look how many layers, 4 layers, but there are even more complex than this one. So let's add reverb to each layer because I like so. In response on channel number 4, and what I can do now is go to the MIDI keyboard inside AUM. That is why I've been using AUM, and let's connect these to LayR on channel number 4. And now let's increase the volume and play a little bit. So all of that just using one single instance of LayR, and there are more and more features inside this synth. For example, you can use macro controls to control different layers which have been linked together. So it can create some outstanding performances, and that is why for me is my favorite performance synth coming out from 2020. Still very much relevant, and I hope that Andy for Living Memory Software will continue to expand it and update it without changing the sound and what it can do. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, there is a competition, number of codes provided by Living Memory Software. So if you would like to participate in that giveaway, please follow the instruction in the video description, and also check the top comment in the comment section to see if the competition is still running. I hope you enjoyed. I will relaunch the LayR set of tutorials now that I have mouse support, and hopefully I will bring you together with Living Memory Software additional features in the next videos. Bye.